Thanks for joining me back in Photopea. Now, I've already opened up the website, and I've already opened up the creation of Adam, Michelangelo's famous painting. Right now, there isn't any editing to it. I need my image first, the cleaned up photo of myself that I've prepared. So I'm going to go into Open under File, and I'm going to grab that PSD file, recently exported from the last time I was working on it. I cleaned around it, so you're dealing with that transparent background that comes from erasing away the original backdrop. And to notice up in the left-hand corner here, you might notice I've got both Creation of Adam and Michelangelo in a different tab. That is going to happen by default. It'll create a new canvas each time you open up a new file. But I, of course, need them in the same spot to start editing them. So I'm going to take the topmost tool in my toolbar, the Move tool, this little arrow cursor, click and hold down and drag. I'm still holding, release, bam. All right, got the head in there. Now, when you drop yours in, it might be a different size. It could be this much larger, and that's okay. Ideally, that's great. Like, you don't want it smaller. If anything, you want it slightly bigger, because if it's smaller and you have to stretch it out to make it fit the new body that you're going onto, well, it's going to get pixelated and lose crispness. If you have to shrink it, there's no loss of quality in your image. So let's zoom in and see if we can't do a little of that surgery, right? So I'm going to grab my head, okay, and I'm going to go to Edit and Free Transform. Now, Free Transform allows me to warp the image. I can crush it. I can change the height. I can rotate it from a corner. The little cursor will change as you near borders, be it a corner or a sidebar, right? But I don't want to do that. I just want to change the scale. I don't want to change the proportions or stretch my chin out or my nose unrealistically. I want it to be as seamless as possible to the real thing. Otherwise, people will raise an eyebrow when they look at it, realize something is off. And the minute it starts drawing attention to the edit, the photo is no longer suspending disbelief. It's not a seamless, like very subtle photo manipulation, which is the goal of good photo editing. So instead, when I distort this in any way, if I just want to change the scale and not the shapes of things, I'm going to hold Shift first, keep holding it down, and when you pull it in or out, it will only change the scale. It prevents you from distorting it, right? So now I'm going to drag it over, and this could be a little tough to eyeball. So I'm going to teach you another tool. It's called Opacity, and it's the opposite of transparency. So think about opacity like a glass door. The greater the opacity, the more bird crap is on it, right? If I want less opacity, if I want it to be more transparent, then that means I'm cleaning up some of that solid mass. I want to see through it better. So to pull back on the opacity means I'm going to see through. That image underneath is going to bleed out and bubble through it. Now, I have to make certain I'm on the right layer or my background will fade. But I want to see Michelangelo's David through my own face. So I'm going to make it a little transparent, and I'm going to zoom in. And let's grab Free Transform again. And this time, holding Shift, pull it in to try to line up those details. I can also rotate them and try to line up, and this is a good tip, try to line up your eyes, your nose, your forehead. Things might be rather different between the two of you, but trying to line up your eyes is really helpful. So this could take a couple passes. And then I also have to check if it's matching the proportions of the body well enough. So let's zoom out and adjust that opacity. Okay, now let's zoom out. All right, it looks pretty good. I think we should probably enlarge it a little bit more to match the proportions of the body. A human head, well, there's generally 7 heads worth of height in a human body. The proportions of a human body are generally 7.5 heads tall. That might be a little large. I'm going to enlarge it a bit, and then when we rejoin me, I'm going to show you how to continue.